Welcome to part 2 of Ask the Author. Got a couple of interesting questions today. I thought I'd start with a fun one before going to a more technical one. First question is, how do I say all the characters' names? So how they are read versus how they are said may be different, so I've made a list which I will go through and just sort of read them out. I've just listed the important ones. Obviously there are more. If you think of any that are on the list that you're struggling with, just send me a message. So the main character, of course, Ezekiel, Theron Ezekiel to be more precise, his friend Sachiel, his brother Israfel, and his aunt Seratiel, or Sarah for short. The 7 archangels are the more traditional classical names, so Raphael, Gabriel, Ramiel, Uriel, Sariel, Raguel, a lot of L's, EL's to be more precise. It's a very common name, especially with things to do with heaven, so it's usually the shorthand. If it ends in EL, that's usually how it's pronounced. There are the 7 sins, of course, pretty straightforward. They're the lust, wrath, gluttony, envy, greed. Pretty easy. The villain from the envy side is Satariel, the so-called master. Then when we get to Earth, there are the humans, Adam Varick, Nadia Lilith Scarson, and they meet Lahatiel Izareth or Vielfarin, depending on the part of the story. Alexandria's last name is a bit more interesting. That's Delavren. A couple of other humans, Kayla Delson, Rowie. Yeah. Also, while on the subject of pronunciation, I was asked by a new reader on how to pronounce the world names. So these are translations from their languages, so that's why they're spelt a bit odd. But the first one for heaven is Heyaben, and for hell it is Abasul. And of course Earth. We all know that one. For some of the locations, I might do that in a separate video. So places like the college and the different nations, and might go into them another time. For the second question, I was asked to talk about the writing process and how I plan and structure the stories. Now, as I said in the last video, I had been thinking about this one for a long time, planning it and writing for some of the characters, coming up with the moments, things like that. So structure is sort of in place. I'd already had that in place before I even started properly writing. I've got the ending in mind. I know where each individual story needs to go. A lot of the character story arcs are set. It's a matter of structuring them into each individual story. And I try to keep it so there are not too many scenes that are just talking, not too many scenes of the same characters in a row where I can help it, to keep it sort of flowing nicely, keep it interesting. So the structure is very loose. It goes with the characters more than the story, but I have the end story in mind, so I just sort of keep it nudged in the right direction. As for the writing process, I'm not very good at being a consistent writer, so I tend to pick a day, at least once a week, more if I can help it, some time before work or anything like that, and I'll usually actually write it on my phone. So I will particularly go somewhere, put some music in on my headphones to basically isolate myself and to make sure that I only do writing. Otherwise, if I sit at home on my computer here, I tend to get distracted, get sidetracked, look at all the videos and Facebook and Instagram. And so yeah, I tend to go isolate myself, put on some good music, and write for at least a couple hours at a time, and try to get either a few paragraphs or a scene done every time I can, when I can. And that's it. So yeah, if there are any more questions, send them my way. I'll hopefully get to them when I can.